What is up, homies? My name is Felix, and I'm here back again with another video for you all today. I need some water. So I've been thinking a little bit recently about what actually makes somebody a composer, as opposed to just your average producer slash musician, artist, whatever. And I don't know about you guys, but personally I think composer sounds a lot cooler than just producer. So the goal for this video today is to just compose something, to make some sort of composition. No more beats, no more anything like that. We're making compositions now. So make sure you guys check out my Instagram and my SoundCloud down in the description below, along with the playlist of songs I produced, Beat Store, Discord, all that stuff. Go check it out if you'd like to do so. And now we can start our composing journey. So the actual definition of composer is a person who writes music, especially as a professional occupation. This definitely seems like a little bit of an outdated definition, but honestly, forget the definition, forget the Merriam-Webster. I do think composer is a pretty loose term, you can kind of just use it wherever, but the way that I see it, my definition at least, is that there's different types of composing. For video games and movies and TV and stuff like that, and then there's also the orchestral composing. That's kind of the way that I see it, that's kind of the way that it, rolls around in my brain, but then again, the word composer is a pretty loose terminology. So let's just start trying to compose something. So kind of the composing vibe that I want to go for personally here is kind of like a video game music composition. Honestly, that's kind of the most fun for me to do. So we're just going to pull up a cool little plugin called Minibit. Minibit's a pretty good plugin for getting those nice video gamey 8-bit kind of sounds. So I'm going to pull up this little fantasy piano and we're just going to start making a little pattern out of this. And I think one other thing about composing is that it's much more about like the mood, the feeling of whatever that composition is going to apply to. So whether it's like a dramatic scene in a movie or like a, fight scene in a video game, you have to really think about what your composition is going to be played over. So I think the vibe that I'm going to go for here with this one is I want it to be kind of like the starting screen of a video game, where you press a new game and you pick your character and everything like that. That's kind of the vibe I want to go for. Alright, so we kind of got this basic little loop going on now. So I'm liking how that sounds. It kind of has like a circusy vibe to it, so we're going to try to make it a little bit more spacey and like ambient. So let's add a little pad sound to this. So inside Serum, we can obviously go to my Serum bank that I put out a while ago. If you want to check that out, that's right up here. Alright, so I like the way that this pad turned out. I had to export it because it was just absolutely destroying my CPU when I tried to play it inside Serum. But here's the pad and the first little key sound. The pad kind of has a cool pulsating effect because it swells in a little bit. And I think that fits pretty good here and it gave it kind of the spaciness that I wanted. Okay, so I think the lead turned out pretty good. Basically, I just followed kind of a little descending pattern here. And I think with that, I'm going to put a lot of reverb and stuff on it. But for now, what we're going to do is add a little bass line. And with the bass line, we can probably just copy all this stuff. Alright, we got a pretty cool bass line going on. Let's see how it sounds if I, pitch it up a little bit. Probably going to change that. But for now, I'm not going to worry about it. Just going to leave it how it is. One thing I do want to do, though, is kind of make a little bit of some drums. Don't want to go too crazy with the drums here and make a whole bunch of fancy stuff. If this is playing in a video game, in the opening screen, you don't want to have too much distracting stuff going on. You want it to be nice and simple so somebody can, approach the game very easily, very openly. So I'm going to take some old vintage drum machine sounds, just bring them in there. That's kind of fire. When it comes down to it, you really don't need all sorts of crazy drum patterns and fancy stuff. This right here is going to do you just fine. Obviously, I'll add, little bits and pieces later on, but we got the basics, the foundation now. So I'm going to do split by channel and then just drag all this stuff in. So with composing, since I'm a composition expert, there's two things that are kind of important when you're doing your layout of the beat. One of them is making sure that something new happens every few seconds. Because if this is in a video game or whatever, the listener's going to get very bored of just listening to 16 bars of this. So this is just my recommendation, but what you kind of want to do is add something new in, like every 2 to 4 bars, just so that it doesn't get stale and repetitive. And then another thing with specifically video game type music, you want to make sure that it loops well, because if it doesn't loop well, it's gonna just sound all wrong. And I'm talking about the whole song, but even just like these 4 bars right here, if this doesn't loop well into the next segment, it's gonna sound really weird and it's not gonna sound good. And if you think about it, in a video game, you're gonna be hearing that same song like 3 or 4 times depending on how long you're in that title screen or whatever. So we're just going to add in this right here, but then cut it off and restart it again like this. And then what I think I want to do for the next little segment here is turn this into something else, just add like a different layer of it, because what I'm hearing a lot of is the high end of the bit crusher on this thing. So I want to give the listener a little bit of a break from that for a second and then bring it back in later. So yeah, we're gonna take that out for now and I'll make a mental note of that. I think you can also do Alt-T to add like a little marker thing. Change the main sound. And then maybe have just the kick here and then have it all just drop in again like this. And then maybe put the snare right at the end only here so it's just a double hit. Yeah, honestly, I think I might just add a couple more sounds and then we'll be pretty much done with this thing. But one other thing that I wanted to mention, so my favorite composer, probably, he goes by Concerned Ape. He's the guy who made all the music for Stardew Valley, which is one of my favorite games ever, and one thing that he likes to do is add arpeggios. So that's something that I'm going to do here as well. I think you can do arpeggio by Alt-U. Whoa, that is not what I want to do. Alt-A. Oh yeah, here we go. If you do Alt-A, you'll pull up the arpeggiator. You can't tell me that right there doesn't instantly jump out as a video game music type thing. But also when you add in more things, you kind of run into the problem of like, okay, well this brings up the energy quite a bit here. And then it drops back into this, which is a lot more lower energy now because we have this very high energy arpeggio thing. So maybe we'll add this in, but like add a little filter on it or something. Or just keep it in there just regular, honestly. I think that sounds fine too. So yeah, at this point, I think we're pretty much done here. The only other thing I really need to do is just mixing. If you want to know how to mix your beats and your compositions now, I guess, you can check out this little video right here. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video here today. This is a lot of fun to do. I love making this type of music because it's just so simple and fun, and it's stuff that you actually kind of have to think a little bit more about as well. You have to kind of think about like, okay, how is this specific instrument gonna sound with this vibe and this situation and stuff like that. So from now on, I want you guys to refer to me as a composer, not a producer. No more producing, beat making, or anything like that. I'm now a composition maker, if you will. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure you guys go check out my Instagram and my SoundCloud down in the description below, along with the playlist of songs I produce, Beat Store, Discord, all that stuff. Go check it out if you'd like to do so, and I will see you guys next time.
Some saving.